With the '08 election, Obama obviously commanded a lot of the youth vote, and as you previously touched on, but since a very large percentage of those youth voters are now jobless still as a result of the guy that they picked, is he going to be able to mobilize those same people? And if he's not, are they going to be able to be converted or simply stay home?
Great question. It would be just speculation for me to answer it. You know, the general rule is, and I'm speaking just because I know we have a lot of young people here, and I respect that, and I started young as well in my activism, but general rule is young people just don't vote. I mean, when you look at the proportions of people. So there's always this, you know, democratic surge that we're going to get all these young people and we're going to pull it off, and Puff Daddy's going to do it for us by his video blogs and all this nonsense. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that the problem with young people is that they're young people. But, you know, I think that, I don't know, it's a good question. I think that for the most part, the romance of having a minority, the first black president, I mean, there's a lot that resonates there in terms of overcoming that barrier and the history of our country with slavery and the civil rights movement and all that. You know, now that we've done that, I think you're right. I think there may be okay, let's get a reality check about what we just did here, and was it substance or was it form? So I think that could happen.
To that point, do you think that if Huckabee became the candidate and not wanting to say it's race, but trying to appeal to the black population and say, this is what's happened to you, but here's what I want to do, and here's what the Republican wants to do, and here's what the country wants to do for you, to lift you up instead of continually giving stuff out to you and, you know, making it so that, you know, you're going to stay where you are. And that's kind of what's happened. But I don't know if that came across right. But
yeah, I mean, look, Huckabee, when he was governor of Arkansas, he got a significant percentage of the black vote as a Republican. So I'm just saying, he really does. He can talk about like the arts and education and the environment in ways that most Republicans are uncomfortable about it. He can really appeal thematically to some of those voters to bring them over. And as he says, I'm a conservative, but I'm not all mad about it. And so that kind of helps as well. Unlike other candidates like a Newt Gingrich, who does seem like he's, you know, pretty ticked off. And by the way, there's a lot to be ticked off about in this country, but you know, he's able to walk that balance rather nicely. Yes.
You pointed out several negatives for some of the candidates, and I agree with the things you pointed out. What I'd like for you to answer is, in your opinion, can they get past them? Can Rick Santorum get past losing? Can Mitt Romney get past the Massachusetts health care thing? I personally, I think it's going to sink him. I mean, I don't see...
In the primary or the general?
At all.
Which candidate are you referring to?
I'm asking you about all of them that have significant negatives. I mean, not every single one. Okay, just...
I mean, everybody's got liabilities, so...
I'm talking about this. Well, I just mean the significant ones. Mitt Romney in the healthcare system. Mm-hmm. Santorum with the... he's got a lot of ground to make up anyway, but with the losing, having lost his bid for re-election... and if you want to highlight a couple others, I mean, can they get past those? Is what I'm asking. I don't know if I really believe that with the sentiment, Mitt Romney can get past that healthcare thing in this country. But I see that as a huge problem for Rick Santorum also. But he also lost in a union district in a non-Republican cycle. I mean, it was kind of a trap for him anyway.
It's a great question. It's a complicated question.
By
By the way, second complicated question you've asked tonight.
I'll stop.
But no, here's how they get past it. With some exception, any of these guys are better than Barack Obama. That's how he's going to get past it. So if he wins New Hampshire and Nevada, and then comes in Florida and sweeps, boom, I mean, that's going to be huge going into Super Tuesday. All that stuff won't matter in comparison. Because I don't think, given what's happening in this country, I don't think he'd repeat the same mistake again. I don't think his health care program would look like it did in the past if he becomes president of the United States. That's my opinion.
And I completely agree with that. I just worry that you now take the ability to attack the health care plan of Obama off the table. That's a huge upside for us this coming cycle, is to go after that. And if you think I'm wrong, I'd like to know that. It just seems like that goes
What's off the table? The health care?
Yeah, it just seemed like on the surface it might be, we can't go after him now. If Mitt Romney's our nominee.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And if you all disagree, I'd like to know that because
Well, I think, yes, I disagree because why? Because you have independent committees that pop up that their sole purpose is just to take somebody out on one issue, and that will happen with the president. I mean, people will go after him on the health care issue, and it'll be Tea Party led. You know, we had this happen with other presidential candidates where they just have a negative, and groups of people fund commercials and radio, and they hammer that negative home, and it resonates with people, and it affects the election. So.
I have a question that's kind of different from anything that's been asked.
Go ahead.
This is something I've thought about a lot, and I don't know if you ever thought about it, but the thing is, the possibility is that Obama does not want to let go of being president. That's obvious. What I'm thinking is, if things keep going like they are in our country and the economy just really goes down the tube, he could declare martial law. And I know that sounds far-fetched, but the man is able to do whatever he wants at this point, it seems like. Is there a possibility that if that could happen, we wouldn't have an election?
Wow, that's beyond my pay grade. I don't think so. I mean, obviously, the chief executive has enormous power, but Congress has power, the Supreme Court has, there's checks and balances, I think, that still, there would have to be something, a nationwide tragedy. There would have to be a collapse of, Al Gore's internet or something like that, or perhaps, some nuclear bomb going off in multiple places, a major, something like that. I think that he would have the authority to, it would have to be pretty serious in order to do that. And then, even then, I don't think it's a permanent state of martial law. It would have to be something that's, temporary. But I'm not an expert on that particular issue, so I don't know his authority and the scope of it in that regard.
John, Tony Washak again. You mentioned early on that monetary availability or political clout in terms of dollars was high on the list of rankings, and the last one I may not be able to memorize, but it was something to do with high moral stance on issues.
Yes.
Who is the best Republican candidate in 2012 that's a combination of monetary availability and perfect stance on policy?
That's tough, because it's, I'll confess, I really like Michelle Bachmann. And I think that, again, she's shown a lot of the characteristics we've talked about: command of the issues, personal, physical presence. She has the ability to raise money. At least she did in the first cycle. She would appeal to the Tea Party movement. I think she's just got a lot of those elements. She's very smart with policy. She needs to develop a national message that can appeal to inspire people, because she is very kind of, just economic Tea Party message is what she's got right now, and that's a kind of a narrow base when you look at a general election. So she's got to be able to expand that, but I think that she has real promise in that regard, in both those things. Obviously, Trump and Romney have the most money of all these folks we've talked about. Trump I don't hold a lot of, high regard for. I just don't think he's a legitimate candidate. I think just yesterday he was talking in Nevada, and he used the F word in a speech, coupled with another word which made it even horribly worse, which is bleeped out. And it was just, that kind of thing, just, how are you credible when you're going to be president throwing that around? It's just, difference between cursing and just utter profanity like that. But Mitt Romney probably is a, depending on how you feel about his other policies, the problem with him is, can we trust him on the issues? That's the problem. He's been so far to the left in Massachusetts, we're not sure if he's for real or not, or if he's just playing the presidential game. And that's the problem with Mitt Romney. If we knew he's for real, if we knew he was going to hold the line, we could probably go for it and say, yeah, let's social conservatives get behind him. But I think that's going to be his real Achilles heel, is the trust factor. Well, listen, we got one more question here. Do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to add something to Michelle Bachmann. She's not afraid to work. You see her everywhere. She seems tireless. and I like her too.
So you're part of the Michelle Bachmann fan club.
I have one thing to say. I can't stand Donald Trump. I don't know if I could vote for him if my hand would allow me to sign for him. But if the economy is the major problem, and our country is going to take second or third seat to a lot of other countries soon, we need someone in there that first has enough sense to know how to fix the economy. And Trump has come through the 80s when everybody thought he was gone. He came back. I do like that his kids are very respectful. But we need someone that will go into Congress and make the right decisions. Like, why do we go in and protect Kuwait, save their country, and we pay the bill? That's absolutely ridiculous. One of the richest countries in the world, and we pay reparations for the damage we did, saving their lives. I mean, that's stupid. That's bad business. So we need someone in there. Also, we're paying 48% of our tax dollars in defense, which I've seen us buy war materials that we're replacing materials that are sold for very few dollars and replacing them with high dollars. And it's real obvious that this is an inside deal that a lot of people are making money off of. And we need someone in there that will make the right decisions to bring this economy back in line. Is there any other candidate that has the business sense and will step forward and just do what's right and do what makes sense?
That's a great comment. Listen, thank you very much for your time, and appreciate you coming out to hear the presentation tonight.